What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, y'all? So we are back again for the finale episode of American Horror Stories, New York, season 11. Episode 10, Requiem 1981-1987, part 2. So it picks up not really where it left off. Like, it keeps time jumping, okay? So now in this part, and the episode was only like 30 minutes. But in this episode, we see Adam walking down the street, and then, we see some people outside of an apartment building, and we see a whole bunch of cops or whatever, and they're bringing out a body. And so Adam asks one of the neighbors, what's going on? They said apartment, I think CB or 6B or something like that, B6 or something like that. Either way, it was Hannah's apartment. They said they smelled a whole bunch of, they were smelling some stuff coming out of her apartment. So they came up in there, and, he goes up there. He was like, I'm a friend of the person that lives here, and, gives her name and all that stuff. And they was like, what's your relations really to her? And he was just like, I'm the father of her child. It was Hannah's apartment, and unfortunately, of course, Hannah passed away. That is one thing, like, I've always thought about that, like, living alone. What if something happened, and then, nobody knows that I'm up in here just, going through it or whatever, or no longer with the world, you know what I'm saying? And how would they know? Like, I don't want to think about that, but I have thought about that before, I feel like everybody has. That's why I feel like a lot of people, we don't want to be by ourselves. Like, we don't want to die alone or whatever. That's a little bit morbid, but I mean, this is the show, whatever. But anyway, moving on from that. So he was like, can I get a little bit of time to myself just to look around or whatever? And they was like, cool, 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 cool. He sees her tapes or whatever. So he takes the tapes, he started listening to them. And it's her talking about how, remember those deers on, Fire Island or whatever that they got rid of at the beginning of the season? She got reports that the deers have been repopulating at a fast rate. And she was like, we're trying to understand what the hell is going on, So basically, and this review probably ain't going to be that long because it really wasn't much to really talk about. But basically, the first half of the episode, after we've listened, Adam is just sitting there listening to these tapes, okay? And then he takes the tapes home and he's listening to them. He's talking about, he listening to the T cells, the lymphoma that's occurring, you know what I'm saying? And at one point he was listening and she starts coughing. So he literally gets, I guess, when she passes away. And she was coughing so bad that he literally thought that somebody was in there and had attacked her. Mind you, the police that was there, they said it looked like no sign of forced entry whatsoever. She was not attacked. He kept on replaying and replaying, trying to hear something to make it seem as if in his mind to make everything make sense, because right now things are not clicking. Like, how did she get sick? Or how did she pass away? What is going on? You know what I'm saying? Somebody else had to do this, And so he goes down to, I guess, a coroner, that was Patrick set up. Mind you, this is back in 1981. Okay, I should have said that at the beginning. This is back in 1981. Remember, Patrick died in 1987. So back in 1981, this was probably like a little short time after, they came back from Fire Island. That's when he went to go check on her. She was already gone. Her body started to smell. He started listening to her tapes. He goes down there to the corner because Patrick kind of hooked it up for him because, they was good girlfriends, the corner and Patrick. And she was trying to tell Adam she was not attacked. What it sounds like is she could have had really quick, lightning fast heart failure. And that happens, you know what I'm saying? So she won't know more until she actually go and examine her. And she's not about to examine her just yet because she got other patients ahead of her. But once she gets to her, she can get a definitive answer as to what happened to her. And Patrick kept on, not Patrick, but Adam just kept on trying to be persistent that it was an attacker, it was an attacker, it was an attacker. And it just really wasn't that. Even with the Theo case, he was trying to say that as well. And she was like, no, you want me to say that, but that's just not what happened. What happened in Theo's case, Theo was sick. Theo had lung pneumonia, okay? He had the type of pneumonia that they've been talking about throughout the season. And she was like, it affects the lungs. It's a lung disease right about now. And he was like, well, how did he die so fast? Well, because he had it for a minute, first of all, and it went unchecked. And then when they found him, he was tied up against a tree like he was being crucified, and he had his arms up so long, it looked like he's been up there for a minute. So therefore, he's being deprived of oxygen. Plus, he had quaaludes up in his system, which means his oxygen and his breathing, whatever, is also being depressed at the same time. So basically, the only thing that I can tell you is that he suffocated, and the only consolation out of that is he didn't feel no pain because he was high, you know. And I said, oh wow, you know, sometimes we just try to understand things and we can't accept. That's why we got so many people that be out here with the conspiracy theories or whatever. People want answers to a lot of things that we don't have the answers to, and probably never will have the definitive real answer to. And so therefore, we'll go along with a theory that somewhat makes sense to us, whether it's true or not. That's where the conspiracy theories come from. That's where all these so what ifs and all this other stuff comes from, you know, because we're just trying to understand, and we're just trying to find something that makes sense to us and follows our logic, you know. And so that's what Adam was doing, you know. He goes back and he's listening more to the tapes. I would not be walking around listening to no goddamn tapes that's depressing, talking about some fucking illness. I'm sorry, baby. If I'm walking around the streets, baby, I gotta have my music on, okay? I would listen to that in the house. I was listening to that in the house, okay? But as I'm walking, that is my time to decompress or whatever. In the crib, we can listen to it, or I can listen to it with somebody else so we can decipher what's going on. But I mean, he was trying to get down to the bottom of it, bitch. He said, wherever Hannah left off, I'm finna pick up the case, okay? So, you know, he realizes that, yeah, he gave this to Hannah, okay? Because in her tapes, one of the cassettes was basically saying that, you know, she had the same thing a lot of her gay patients have. You know, and she had got pregnant by Adam. You know, they did the turkey baster method, which means, you know, he basically gave her what? Girl, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. North Korea out here fucking firing off missiles and shit. What? Oh my God, this may be our last. Let me stop. That kind of scared me a little bit. Girl, I don't even want to look at it no more. Y'all just be careful. Anyway, so what was I saying? Basically, you know, she realized that whatever it is that's going around, she got it, and she got it from Adam. Okay? She got it from Adam because she used his sperm. And she just don't, and you want to know what was so crazy about it? She was not upset. She understood that there was an illness that was going around. There was a virus going around. She didn't know, you know, it was bacterial, it was viral, whatever, this illness, this disease that is going around. She understood that she got it from Adam because Adam is presenting the same things that a lot of her gay patients that she, you know, tested or whatever, they all had the same thing. And now she has it. So she realized where she got it from, but she was not upset. And if she was, she just did not display it and be like, damn, I should have got somebody else. I knew I should have been more careful or something like that. No, she was worried about him. She said, man, how am I going to let him know this? And so at this point, this takes Adam on this, you know, trying to do, get people aware. You know, he goes and print out copies of flyers telling people if you're going to have rough sex or whatever, if you're going to have sex, just protect it. Use a condom, okay? You know, he tries to give a box of condoms down at the bathhouse with Miss Patty LaPone. And Miss Patty LaPone said, first of all, she thought he was with the health department because she was like, listen, first of all, it was taking y'all too goddamn long to get down here. We've been bleaching. We've been doing everything that y'all done told us to do. And I'm still losing patrons. They're still dying. They're still getting sick. What the hell? And he was like, wait a minute, man. I mean, I'm here for a health issue, but I'm not the health department. I'm just going to give you these flyers or whatever. Tell people to wear some condoms and all that stuff. And we found out that this is her last night and she gonna close the business down because at this point, what's the reason? You know, she's scared. She's worried about the customers and everything. And oh, what a time. Like, you know, I felt bad. Oh, excuse me. What the fuck is that? But anyway, so that wind up happening. Then you see him getting on the train, right? And it's this pregnant lady sitting in front of him. And next thing you know, the lights start flickering. And we see that old lady, not the old lady, the homeless lady who was kept on saying something is coming, something is coming. And she said, I told you, I told you. Now in the episode prior when Sam was having his little hallucination and he was talking to Theo, and Theo was the doctor, Theo told Sam, didn't I tell you? Remember when I said that something was coming? It's already here and this is it. You know, that's what he was saying. And so it comes from that, because then the lights go out on the train, and then when it comes back on, he sees the newspaper next to him, and he looks at the newspaper, and one of the articles, one of the columns is about 41 homosexuals have contracted this, I guess, gate cancer, and 8 of them, they said across New York and California, and at least 8 of them have passed away within the past 2 years. And I was like, yep, that's how they put it out there. Meanwhile, we get back over there to Gino. Gino walking down the street. We can see the reflection of Patrick in the window, even though we know that he got a suit on. We know that Patrick is no longer with us. Gino winds up going to the funeral home where Patrick was supposed to be, you know, about to be buried and have the little funeral at. And as soon as he gets in, you see all of the people, mostly men, there for Patrick. But then you see his mother, and it looked like probably his brother. Now, in the other episode, before he died, he told Gino, cash out my, sell my insurance policy. Because I don't want my mama and them to get it, okay? Because then that means you ain't going to get shit, and he just really don't fuck with them like that, I guess. And so, and mostly he was just looking out for Gino. Because as soon as he came up in there, and they saw him and he was about to speak to him, baby, they turned their backs and went on ahead and sat the fuck down. I said, oh my God. Then Gino sees that, you know, Patrick's casket was closed. And he was like, what the hell is this? This ain't supposed to be no closed casket. But now he's having a hallucination himself, like a dream himself. And he opens up the casket and it was like, almost like, you know, clown-like or ladylike, I should say. He had the thin eyebrows painted on, blush and all of that stuff, whatever. And so Adam came up in there and had to snap him out of it. And so he goes up there to speak, and we never got the speech because he saw Big Daddy, okay? Big Daddy just winds up lurking around for the rest of the episode. And for the rest of the episode, we just see from 1987 when Patrick was buried, we just see a whole bunch of people going to the funeral homes and going to the burial plots or whatever, and people just falling into graves, falling into graves, falling into graves. And then you see the headlines about the AZT. And AZT was one of the first drugs that they used to try to combat or to control HIV, AIDS or whatever. And you know, Gino was on it. Because y'all know Gino got it as well. That's why he keep on seeing Big Daddy. You know, he was in a pharmacy. He was getting it. And Big Daddy was still lurking around. At one point, you see him go to the bar, and he was trying to get with somebody, or somebody picked him up, and then when he go back to the room, basically it's a whole bunch of blood. Baby, that was so disrespectful. Big Daddy just really rude as shit. Because that man that he brought home to the house, Big Daddy ain't had to throw that bucket of blood on him like that. I said, you are so fucking rude. Okay, god damn. And we see him still trying to put awareness out there, but everywhere we go and everywhere Gino go, we see more gay men getting infected and dying. At one point when he was up in there writing the articles, and you could just see the number of victims, people who passed away. It went from like 35,000 to 47,000, and then I think the last number that we saw was 120,000. We saw Gino out there protesting because that's what they were doing. If y'all saw Pose, that was true too. The act up that happened, that whole protest thing and all of that, that was real as well. Girl, the lesions kept on, they started to really pop out on him, as the year goes by, because it goes from 1987 to 1989. And then we get to him being at the bar to the point where he's shaking. At one point he was laying in the bed and it was like blood on the bed, but I feel like that was just like a hallucination that was making him get up. And he opened up the door and it was Big Daddy at the door, and he closed that bitch like, hell no. Girl, he was trying to make his own concoction to put on the lesions and everything. And we just saw him slowly but kind of fast, because it was happening over a couple of years or so. His body just starts to break down at the end. He goes from just being regular old Gino with no real signs besides the little lesions that we saw earlier up in the season, to him having more lesions on his hands and on his face or whatever. And then, sitting at the bar, and like I said, his body started to shake. His hands were shaking. And then all of a sudden he was walking with a cane. Then he was walking with a walker. And, 1991, baby, did you see when they was up in the, he was up there writing, and then Big Daddy had the machine gun. I said, oh my God, you're so rude. Mass distraction, you're just so fucking rude, Big Daddy. Okay, that is just not right. But and then closed the door behind him and finished it off. I said, damn, you are ruthless. But eventually we saw that, of course, Gino succumbed to the illness in 1991. He was laying in that bed and he couldn't barely breathe. He was trying to catch his breath. We saw him going to that same grade after he was walking down the street, seeing different people in the wheelchair with the death sign on them. At one point, Adam saw the death signal or whatever, like the skull, in his beer when he was at the bar, But yeah, when he was laying in that bed, he saw Patrick, and then that's when he smiled, and we knew that that was it. And then the last scene was basically Adam coming into that same funeral home. It was giving very much Pose, and I have to keep on remembering that Ryan Murphy did Pose as well. So it's like the white version of Pose. And I feel like that's the same goddamn funeral home that that's the same funeral home that they used up in Pose, or the same room that they used for Pose when they was doing the funerals and stuff like that. But Adam came up in there, and it was kind of weird or off a little bit for me when Adam came in there. He had the little smirk on his face like, and I don't know if he was just doing it out of nervousness or whatever, just trying to keep it together. Because once he got up there, then he saw Gino in his casket, which was an open casket. He put this necklace on him in his casket or whatever. Then when he got up there to speak, he could barely speak, and he kind of broke down. I said, oh, Lord. I mean, if you want us to get a message, goddamn, I think we got the message. The message is to be fucking careful. Okay, to be goddamn careful. At one point, Adam went to the doctor to try to get one of his lesions checked, biopsied or whatever, and he told the doctor, I already know what it is. It's the sarcoma thing, and he was like, you need to go ahead and connect with all your other doctors or whatever and tell them what's going on, that it's a new illness out here, that it's no cure for it, all that shit, and you should be prepared. And of course the doctor don't want to listen to him, but he was right. But that was American Horror Story. I mean, I liked it. I liked this season for what it was. I really did, because it kind of got back to American Horror Story just a little bit. It was a totally different and totally better than last season. It just got real fucking depressing these last couple of episodes. These last couple of episodes, and I get it, but bitch. Now next season, if it is the next season, I want some gore. Okay, I want some bodies hitting the floor. Okay, that's what I want, you know. But anyway, I like this. I like the season. I did. I don't have that many complaints. But y'all tell me how y'all felt, and I'll see y'all guys later. Peace.